You know, in the NFL, they always say a win is a win. It's just a W in the standings. And by the time the playoffs roll around, nobody really remembers how you got it. But what if how you got that win tells a much bigger story? A story about a high stakes gamble, a coach's super controversial call, and a debate that had fans and analysts fired up long after the game was over. Let's break down one of those wins. So, this is the whole philosophy of Eagles coach Nick Sirianni, right here. After a total nail biter against the Packers, that W was all he cared about. I mean, it's a simple, kind of brutally effective way to see things when your entire job depends on getting results. Okay, but should they? Really? Is a win that you kind of stumbled into, one that came from a nearly disastrous gamble, the same as a win where you just completely dominated? That's the real question we're digging into here. All right, so let's set the scene. It's a Monday night showdown, Eagles versus the Packers. And this wasn't some high-flying shootout. Nope. This was a gritty, defensive slugfest, and the whole thing boiled down to one single critical moment in the final minute. First off, look at the score. It is razor thin. The Eagles are just barely clinging to a 3-point lead. Just one field goal from the Packers, and this thing is headed to overtime. And how much time is left on the clock? Just 33 seconds. That's it. At a moment like this, every single decision gets magnified, and every tick of the clock feels like an hour. The pressure is just immense. And here it is, the moment of truth. It's fourth down, 6 yards to go. The Eagles have the ball on Green Bay's 35-yard line. You get a first down here, game over, you win. You fail, you're handing the ball right back to the Packers with one last shot to steal it. So, what do you do here? If you're the head coach, what's your call? Nick Sirianni basically had 3 different paths he could take, and believe me, each one came with its own major risks and potential rewards. Okay, so let's break down these choices, just like you see here. First up, you go for it, nail it, and the game is over. You can start the celebration. But if you fail, ugh, you're giving Green Bay the ball with amazing field position. Option 2, you try to kick a long field goal. Make it, and you've got a safer 6-point lead. But miss it, and the Packers get even better field position. And finally, option 3, you punt. You can pin the Packers deep, but you're still putting the ball back in their offense's hands and hoping your defense has one more stop in them. So Sirianni's weighing all this in his head. Conventional wisdom, what most coaches would do, probably points in one direction. But his gut and his trust in his offense, well, that was pulling him somewhere else entirely. So with the entire game hanging in the balance, 33 seconds to go, what did the Eagles decide to do? Well, they didn't just go for it. They went for it all. This wasn't some safe little check down pass to pick up 6 yards. No way. They dialed up a deep shot, a low percentage bomb down the field from Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown. We're talking maximum risk for maximum reward. And And it failed. The pass hits the turf, incomplete. The gamble completely backfired. And just like that, the Packers have the ball back with 27 seconds left and a very real shot to get into field goal range and tie this thing up, or maybe even win it. So you can imagine after the game, this decision was everything people were talking about. So why on earth did Sirianni make such a crazy, risky call? Let's get into his side of the story. First thing he talked about was why he didn't just kick the field goal. He felt the long distance plus having to kick directly into the wind just made it way too risky in his mind. A low kick has a much higher chance of getting blocked, and a miss would have been a total disaster. So instead of putting his faith in the kicker, he put it all on his offense. And he even brought up a time this worked before, a similar deep pass against Cleveland the year before. That's what was giving him confidence. He truly believed his star players could make a play and end the game right then and there. Okay, but this is where you gotta look a little closer at the details. Because this comparison, it's not really apples to apples, you know? That play against Cleveland, yeah, that was on second down. If it failed, no big deal. You still have 2 more plays. But this one against the Packers, this was fourth down. Do or die. There are no more chances. The entire context and the stakes were completely different. And that brings us to the one option that a whole lot of analysts and even the analytics models were screaming for. It's the one Sirianni didn't really talk about after the game. Just punting the ball. Think about it. A good punt here pins the Packers way back, deep in their own territory. Green Bay had 0 timeouts left, so trying to drive the whole length of the field would have been a nightmare for them. Plus, a punt burns more of that precious clock. Basically, it was the safe play. The one that says, hey, let's trust our defense, which has been dominant all night, to win this for us. So, okay, the deep shot failed. The coach's super aggressive call blew up in his face and put his team in a really, really bad spot. But football, as we all know, is a team sport. And what happened next is the reason that W ended up in the win column after all. The Packers got the ball back, yeah, but they couldn't do a single thing with it. The Eagles' defense, which, let's be honest, had been playing lights out all game, they stood tall for one last stop. They ended up forcing this crazy, desperate 64-yard field goal attempt that, let's be real, had 0 chance of going in.
So in the end, the result kind of validated the decision, at least if you're just looking at the scoreboard. The Eagles won the game. Sirianni's huge gamble was totally bailed out by his defense, which let him say, see, I trusted the whole team, and walk away with the win.
So what do you think? What was this? Was it aggressive genius from a coach who just has unshakable faith in his star players? Or was it just a reckless, lucky gamble that got saved by a fantastic defense? The final score is in the history books, but the debate over the process, the how, and the why, that's what makes this game's strategy so endlessly fascinating to break down.